Scott Wetzel is not for everyone. For instance, sane people who can easily tell right from wrong or strongly urge to change the channel. Doctors Radio declared listening to Scott Wetzel can be hazardous to your health and can cause sickness, strokes, or wanting to take long walks on short piers. Feelings of agitation, dizziness, depression, frustration, and cold sweats are common when listening to Scott. You can have a bad reaction, such as confusion, redness in the face, teeth clenching, fist pounding, wanting to put a fork in your eye, and feeling the need to throw your radio out the window. Listeners have also reported increased swearing, trouble sleeping, and a strong desire to gamble. Truckers and drivers are urged to stay away. Learn from Jack from Arkansas. As for women, don't even think about it.
Oh no, my nipples clearly got erect.
You've been warned. Now, here's your host, Scott Wetzel.
And welcome to the Scott Wetzel Show on this fabulous Friday. Yours truly sitting in for the next hour, hour and a half or so, maybe even 2 hours. We'll see. Checking out the world of sports. Yes, busy Friday. NBA with LeBron. MLB. Second half totals we got to get to. Some college football, SEC Media Days continuing today. Some NFL news, our baseball lock of the day, and more. Yes, welcome in LLs, LWs, loyal listeners, loyal watchers. How are you on this fabulous Friday? Checking me out on the YouTube channel. Hit that subscription button, please. Hit that icon, and then we can converse back and forth. We got emails, we got tweets, we got the YouTube chat to get to. Like I said, busy day. We got a couple of great guests. Justin Turman, my good buddy over at Sirius XM NBA Radio will join us. Talk a little LeBron James. And then Nick Hamaty, guy you see all the time. If you see me over on Sports Grid, he'll join us as well. We'll do some NBA and WNBA talk with him also. So busy Friday. Yes, LeBron makes his decision finally. Update on our MLB second half win totals. Dodgers at the White House yesterday. SEC Media Day does continue today. How about a little Arch Manning stuff? Greatest practice of all time. We'll get to that. MLB lock of the day. And how about a lightning strikes parlay relives? Yes, back to the glory days. We'll get to all that stuff again, emails, tweets, and some YouTube chat. Hit that subscribe button and converse back and forth, and we'll throw it up there throughout the program today. So big news. What it broke about the 2 hours or so ago. LeBron supposedly makes his decision. Rich Paul, his agent, telling the four-letter network and others that he's signing with Philadelphia. I'm not necessarily surprised. I did say, I thought, to be honest, as I always am, I thought he was going to Cleveland. I really did. And I thought actually Golden State would be his second choice. But in the end, it is Philadelphia. And I'm guessing because it's only 2 years and $8 million, and no one was offering him a lot of money. And I really think that was the just of this waiting it out, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, he did not go into this free agency thinking he was going to get a 2-year, $8 million contract. He was asking for 20, 30. Hell, he was probably asking for max money. And realistically, no one was going to give him that. Whether they had salary cap space or not, they weren't going to do it. They were just like, no, LeBron, you're 40-plus years old. You're not the LeBron from 10 years ago. We'll give you as much as we possibly can, but this is basically it. And I think he held out thinking someone's got to find a way to come up with some salary cap space for me. And nobody did. And finally, the NBA just stepped in and said, come on, get off the pot here. You got to make a decision. Although realistically, he didn't have to. But, he wants to kind of get acclimated to the situation. So he gets a lousy 2 years, $8 million. LeBron James, all the scrubs in the NBA making more than $4 million a year. Oh, you talk about a blow to the ego. And that's why I really thought it was going to be Cleveland. But there are really two choices, Cleveland and Philadelphia. Cleveland because it's home. And he could say, listen, I just wanted to go home. I know it's only $4 million or $3 million or whatever the Cavs would have given him. But I wanted to go home. And people could kind of just say, all right, you know what? He wants to finish out his career in Cleveland. No big deal. And then Philadelphia was the other one because by far, Philadelphia gives him the best chance to win another NBA championship. Golden State would have been nice, but that team, I told you that last week and this week, that team's not winning an NBA championship with LeBron James. They're over the hill. They're done. Miami's not going to win an NBA championship. They got nobody on that roster. That team's going to stink. Minnesota, would have been better, but they're not going to be NBA championship worthy, right? And Cleveland, same thing, would have been better, but they're not NBA championship worthy. Philadelphia is. And that's why I told you. By the way, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Now, I didn't say Philadelphia, but what did I tell you? I told you this week and last week, Philadelphia, this was the rare time that the boys in Vegas got caught napping because they were 22-1 just yesterday. Hell, this morning they were. And I've been saying for days now, I've been telling you this time after time after time, grab Philadelphia, because even if they don't get LeBron, 22-1 with an Embiid, Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and an improving edge coach. That's a great team. Hell, they got to the second round last year, right? Now maybe you add on LeBron to that, and whether you think that's going to help them or not, what I told you was those odds are going to drop. They did drop. They dropped to 10-1. They went from 22-1 this morning, and they're now 10-1 to win it all. And I still think that's a pretty good price. That's why I said the boys in Vegas got caught napping, not because they didn't know LeBron was going to Philadelphia, but Philadelphia should have never been a 22-1 underdog or favorite or whatever you want to describe it. That team, 22-1? I mean, that's a great, listen, there's a lot of ifs thrown in there, and the main one being if Embiid can stay healthy, which is a major if. But you're betting on that happening, right? You're not betting on Philadelphia thinking he's going to be hurt. You're betting on him playing a decent part of the season, maybe not the whole season, but be ready come playoff time. And come playoff time, that team is loaded. 22-1. I didn't understand that. I really didn't. And like I said, I even think 10-1 is pretty good. Now you got to throw one more if in there. And this if is, can LeBron James, if LeBron James accepts that he's 40 plus years old, he's not the number one option. He's not the number two option. I don't even know if he's the number three option. Realistically, he's probably maybe number four, right? Embiid will always be number one. Jaylen Brown will be number two, I suppose. And Maxey will be number three. Maybe you can flip Brown and Maxey. That's a great. Then you got Edgecombe who wants to get his shots. So is LeBron going to fight that? Is he going to try and, I don't think he would try and serve Embiid, but, is he going to try and be the second guy? So that's a big if, but at 22-1 or even 10-1 now, that's worth it. That is worth it. So Philadelphia hit the home run. And I told you about Miami. I'm telling you, when they released that thing 2 days ago, saying it was an accident, I told you it wasn't an accident. That was them, telling the world that he's not coming to Miami. Not the other way around, not, oh, he's coming to Miami, but we're going to sit on this for 4 days, 5 days, and tell you next week. Teams don't make those kind of mistakes. That would be a monumental mistake. No, you would do nothing but, as I told you yesterday, piss off LeBron and risk him going elsewhere. So the only reason you do that, and that was done on purpose, is just to tweak LeBron, maybe get the fans to hate LeBron. Maybe Pat Riley's pissed off at LeBron that LeBron said no to him, so we're going to pretend that he's coming here, and now we can blame LeBron that he's not coming here. Something along those lines. But I knew he wasn't going to Miami. When that happened, I said, no, it's not going to be Miami. So Philadelphia, is still, they did overtake Boston as far as odds are concerned, which is what we care about a lot here, on the Scott Wetzel Show. So right now, OKC is still the favorite at plus 260. San Antonio is next in line at plus 270, so about equal, obviously. Knicks are still the number one choice in the East at 9-1. Then it's the 76ers at 10-1. Philadelphia was behind Boston, which is now 14-1. Toronto, which is now 20-1. And Detroit, they were ahead of Detroit, which the Pistons are 25-1. So they were kind of stuck in the middle there, about fourth, fifth choice. Like I said, it's still a 10-1. That's not a bad thing. That really is not a bad thing. And if you get good reports coming out of Philadelphia when training camp opens up in a couple of months, I'm guaranteed that'll, as much as you can guarantee anything in betting. I'm telling you that's going to go even lower. I don't know if they'll overtake the Knicks, but by the start of the season, but I wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it. I got a funny feeling that there's been so much hoopla with the Knicks. Boy, they are a classic case of Super Bowl hangover, if you will. Obviously, it's NBA championship. But is that team – listen, that team wasn't great in the regular season. Hell, they weren't great in the first round of the playoffs. They just went on just a great, great, great run. Could that team struggle the first month or so of the season? Absolutely. Could Philadelphia come out flying first month or so of the regular season? Absolutely. So I don't think this is one of the rare times where it's not the worst thing in the world to put your money away a couple of months early. I know you got to wait all the way until next June to cash that 10-1 ticket. That's a long, long time, Scott. I get it. It's almost a full year. But if you want the maximum number, the only thing that could change that is Embiid, getting hurt over the summertime doing something stupid, or one of these guys getting hurt, right? But so there you go, LeBron. And we'll talk to Justin about that. We'll talk to Nick about that as well. So I won't spend too much time on that. But think about the practices that these guys are going to be able to have. I mean, with that starting five, if they split them up, Embiid and Maxey on one side, LeBron and Jaylen Brown on the other side, Edgecombe can be, pick a side, whatever you want, right? I mean, that's going to be a great, great practice if they take it seriously. What happens to Bronny James, by the way? Is he going to be released by the LA Lakers and join Philadelphia? Here's the thing. Bronny is on a guaranteed contract for another 2 more years, 1 more year, 2 more years. But, he's making not that much money, right? $2.5 million. But, if they could only give LeBron $8 million, then they got to be capped out, right? Because they would have given him, I'm sure, a lot more if they had more. So are they going to have room for Bronny James? Does, LeBron just say, you know what, Bronny, you're on your own now. Finally, you're on your own. Go do. You got a guaranteed contract. Do the Lakers say get rid of him and cut him? I don't think they would with a guaranteed deal. I don't think they would, but who knows? It's not that big a deal. It's not that good. But that'll be the next question. Where does Bronny wind up? If he wants to be a good father, right? Let the kid, he's got his contract. He has his money. Grow up and be on your own and see what you can do on your own. And if you can't, then you can't. Simple as that, right? So, but you talk about those practices. It does kind of remind me, right? But maybe the greatest practice of all time, back at the Dream Team, back in the Olympics in the 80s. And it was Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson. You remember that one? That's probably the most notable practice in the history of practice.
Games. We're going to play 4 quarters.
We had me, Scotty, Mullins, Bird, and Patrick. And Magic had his 5.
Michael Jordan called Clyde out and went at him. Tell him, this is what I'm going to do to you. Fall away jumper. Good. What did I tell you? So I said, no, Clyde, you better get him back. You better get him back. Charles Barkley said, I want to take Karl Malone now. So Charles gets it, fall away jumper, good. I said, Karl, you got to get him back. You better go down there and get him back. Karl went right at him, jump shot. You ain't nothing, Barkley. So then I came down.
Cool, they got this on video. That's
His
actually the
energy's
practice.
real high. He feels like he's in an opportunity to prove himself. Showcase that, hey, look, I'm still Magic Johnson. I still dominate this game.
That's all right. We go from here. Don't be cheating on me. Go back.
He never
Think
liked
about
to
all
lose.
the talent that's on that.
As much as it was 5-on-5, you could see in Monte Carlo that it was gravitating towards, okay, Michael and Magic.
Magic was hesitant to surrender his place on the mountaintop. And Michael, being Michael, he needed to say, no, I'm on the top of the mountain.
Magic got the ball. He stopped at the three-point line. He took a shot, and he said, right back at you.
Now,
Magic was saying, look, NBA's not yours yet. I'm still here. Michael's like, no, it's over. This is mine.
Killing everybody on our squad.
But Magic didn't want to end because he wanted to keep playing because We just kicked his ass.
By the time practice was over, even Magic had to acknowledge basketball's landscape had been changed forever.
Good job, Steve.
Larry and I were talking, and Michael walks in, and he says, "There's a new sheriff in town." Well, he's not lying.
He's not lying. No, he's not. So, that is probably, out of all practices over all sports, that's probably the most talked about one. If you're too old to remember that one, then that's, the battle, the storylines. I've seen those films many times and guys talking about that. It's pretty cool. All the talent that was on that roster. And really, Bird didn't play much. He was on the Dream Team, but he didn't play much because of his back. He was injured. So he wasn't. I don't think he even played in that little scrimmage there, believe it or not. But that was a lot of fun. So maybe Philadelphia. Although who's kidding who, right? Philadelphia, they can't even get these guys to play in a regular season, Scott. You think they're going to play like that in a practice? Yeah, no, they're not. You're right about that. So, like I said, we'll talk to Justin Termody here coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll get some more thoughts out of him. Baseball yesterday, basically we had 5 games, as I told you. Oh, by the way, gave out another winner at the we gave out the under in the Detroit game, which it ended up being under 8.5, 4-3. Tigers win. Cha-ching, cha-ching. So tough little spot for the LA Dodgers. They start a 3-game series with the Mets tonight here in New York. So they had to fly to Washington to be with the president yesterday. How about that? They actually, that was pretty cool, right? But then they got to hop on a plane, and no big deal, Washington to New York, but still, something to worry about.
Oh, you have to be kidding, huh? Wow. Do I have to report this? I don't want to report this. That's beautiful. Thank you very much.
It's got your name on it, so
that's
it's
so
only
good.
worth it.
That's right. That's really beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you, fellas. You know what that looks like. Thank you very much.
And?
You know what?
Kind of like more the jersey.
Right. And a World Series jersey.
Thank you very
47.
much. Well, thank you.
Okay. Little something there. He didn't really, he kind of poo-pooed the jersey. I thought he'd get a kick more out of the jersey, but, he's got a diamond ring, so clearly not. So, but anyway, good for the Dodgers. I don't know if the Knicks are going. That's the big topic, or one of the big topics around here in New York, where the Knicks are going to go. They accepted the invitation, but who, in fact, is going to go is really the question. Not necessarily will they go or not, but I would think they all go, to tell you the truth. I know it's been a little while for an NBA team to go visit the president, with Trump anyway in office. But as close as he is with the owner of the Knicks, I got a funny feeling they're all going to, step up to the plate and go. And as they should, no matter who the president is. I'm basically, a Trump guy, if you want it labeled yes or no. But whether it's Trump or whether it was Biden or whoever it may have been, teams should put that stuff aside and just go. I really do believe that. You meet the guy, you greet the guy, you get to walk around the White House, get treated like gold. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Because you don't like the president, really? Because you didn't vote for him? There's so many bigger things in this world. I just paid over $4 for a gallon of gasoline. There's so many bigger things in this world to worry about, whether you like the president or not. And I'm not going to visit the White House because, that's going to be beneath me. So baseball back in play today. Red Sox start a 3-game series against last place Toronto. I told you yesterday, right? They got 25 games or so against basically last place lousy teams over the next month. No reason for this team to come back to the pack. But we got Patrick Sandoval pitching tonight for the Red Sox. First off, he's a lefty. That's not good. Second off, he's made 2 starts since coming off shoulder surgery. First one was actually halfway decent, 5 innings. The last one against Tampa Bay, it was not good. So the fact that he's a lefty also, Toronto's 4 games over 500 against lefties. 13 games under 500 against righties. That's a 17-game swing. That's so, Toronto did win yesterday as well. So I don't bet against teams that are 15-1 their last 16 games, but a little flyer on Toronto wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. And maybe their team total over 4.5. Maybe they lose 6-5, 7-6, something like that. Again, I wouldn't bet against Boston, but I do think Toronto puts 5 runs on the board. So this would be one of those scenarios where, what happens with the Red Sox. This is the first little test of after the 15-game win streak. So, at one point, as we all know, the Sox 12, 13 games under 500, right? What happened? Jonathan Papelbon, their former closer, was on it. He's also now the broadcaster. Him and Jim Rice work on Nesson. So he's close with the club. He has a suggestion, anyway, on what flipped for the Red Sox this year.
I believed in taking this, that all that was going to play into this, building this.
I'll get that out of it. We get the lane a little bit later on. Where'd Papelbon? Here he goes.
I tell you what, AJ, there's a guy named IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who made a statement about 3 or 4 weeks ago and said that there were too many khaki pants and zip-up polos around the clubhouse. And to me, that kind of hit home, because I'm sitting here thinking, well, if you got too many front office guys around trying to, overmanage or step over their boundaries, guys are getting bombarded with too much information. And I have a sneaky suspicion that has come to an end. And the guys have said, you know what? F the world. Everybody go to hell. We're going to play our own style of baseball. And they have completely done a 180. They have switched the way they play. They have switched their mentality. And they are playing like balls out, night in and night out for themselves. And the leader of the pack is Wilson Contreras, man.
I don't know if I necessarily buy that. Sometimes there's just nothing, sometimes it's just the team was supposed to do well this year, didn't. It just took a little while for it to get going, and it got going. Just like the manager being fired, Alex Cora, a month and a half ago or so, didn't really spark the club. If there was going to be a spark, that would have been it, right? Too many suits, in other words, too many front office people on the field, too many, analytics people maybe on the field. I guess that's what he's referring to. Maybe, but I don't necessarily buy that. I really don't. But he's a player. He would know. He's following the team. So I don't doubt necessarily what he says. But sometimes it just, like I said, it just clicks. So you get the ball rolling, and you get guys that are underachieving, and you got to, overachieve to get to the means, which most people do. So whatever the reason, right? Whatever it is, thank goodness it happened. Red Sox, starting a series tonight. Of course, today, 22 years ago, I can't believe it's 22 years. One of one of the greatest, hold on a second, moments in Red Sox regular season history happened on this date in 2024 or 2004.
Would you take?
I'll fast forward through this. It takes a little while to get to. Oh, hold on. Don't want to spoil it. Anyway, yeah, that happened 2004. But again, yeah, I played that on the podcast, and you don't realize it as much when you're playing it for radio. You're like, and I know you're on TV, so you don't have to describe it as much as you would if you're on radio. But boy, Joe Buck and what's his face were just like so cavalier. I mean, you got the two greatest franchises in baseball at that time, right? Beating the hell. You got the two biggest players in baseball, Ortiz and Big Papi and Aroyd. And these guys are like, oh yeah, okay, we got a brawl here. You know what? Our flight's leaving in 2 hours. Let's bring up hockey brawls. Tim, what are you talking about? Who cares about hockey? I don't know what kind of point he was going to make there. He got kind of cut off there by Buck, but. Yeah, that was the glory. That's when the Red Sox rivalry with the Stankies was good. But I will say this, I'm old enough to remember this. When it was the rivalry in the 70s, the late 70s, with Fisk versus Munson and then Piniella and the Bill Lee brawl, that's really, believe it or not, when the Red Sox rivalry was really, really intense. I don't know what it was in the 50s and 60s, wasn't around then. But I was in those late 70s, and I remember that stuff. Bill Lee, never the same. When he got into that brawl, blew out his arm, and that basically was it for him, believe it or not. But that was when they really hated each other. Like this brawl, Big Papi was friends with Aroyd. They were friends with Jeter. Not like they are now, but it wasn't quite the fans, yes, but I don't think the players. In the 70s, it was the players. They and the fans. They hated each other, legitimately just hated each other, right? But in the early 2000s that's why they never hit Big Papi, because they liked them so much. Every stanky fan in the world was always upset. This guy's hitting home run after clutch home run after clutch home run against us, and yet we never drill him. We never knock him off the plate because they liked him. Yeah, they were friends. So, but yeah, that was 22 years ago. Wow, they ended up winning that game 11-10. If you would have asked me, when was that brawl, Scott? I probably would say, what was that, like 10 years ago? Maybe 15, but right around 10, 12, 13 years ago, something like that, right? 22 years ago. Wow. That's amazing. That is. All right, we'll take a quick little break. We'll come back. We'll talk some baskets, LeBron James, and other news. Where does this leave our beloved Boston Celtics after that ridiculous trade they made? We'll talk with Justin Termini, Sirius XM NBA Radio, next right here on the Scott Wetzel Show on FanStream Sports.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka. Named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. What is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things to showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about, or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there over there at that turflifeclub.com.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for $0 monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on FanStream Sports on a Friday afternoon. Talking a little NBA as LeBron James makes his decision. Philadelphia 76ers, maybe to a surprise of some, although they were certainly one of the 4 or 5 teams that he was considering. So let's talk a little NBAs. We're bringing my good buddy over at Sirius XM NBA Radio, Mr. Justin Termini. What's going on, Justin? Long time no see, brother.
God, how we doing, buddy? And oh my God, I haven't seen you in about 20. You've gotten a lot better looking. So I don't know if it was the stress of working at Sirius that had you looking old, but you look good.
Listen, it's amazing. Everyone else is getting older except me. What can I tell you? It must have been all that good Chinese food that our good buddy Harry Carpenter was throwing all around the studios when we were back there. Is that stain still there, by the way?
The building is completely remade. Carpin is still around and kicking, though, so he is there. The newsroom used to look like that Yankees-Red Sox brawl that you were just talking about, with everybody fighting. But instead of throwing fists, we were throwing food.
That's true. That is true. The good times. All right. So what do you think? LeBron goes to Philadelphia. Did you think that was going to happen? And how about the fact he only got? And again, I kind of knew this going in, Justin, that no one was going to offer him max money. And I really thought, as I was saying before you came on the air, I thought that was what was delaying the process. He was waiting for some team to give him at least 10, 15, $20 million. And it just wasn't there. 2 years, only $8 million.
Yeah, and I thought it was also maybe waiting for something to be done with Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. There was a report a couple of days ago from Kevin O'Connor over at Yahoo Sports. It doesn't surprise me from a winning perspective, because he kept saying like winning, or at least, Rich Paul had been saying on his podcast that he was all about winning and happiness. And I thought the winning is there in Philadelphia. Certainly the most talented team that he could have joined that was on his list. I'm not sure about the happiness, though, because LeBron wasn't really happy in LA being the second to third guy behind Luka. Some thought maybe Austin Reeves as well. And now he's either going to be the third or the fourth guy here in Philadelphia, because Joel Embiid, if healthy, is now still the most talented player on that team. He's just a couple of years removed from the MVP. You've got Tyrese Maxey, who needs the ball. You have Jaylen Brown that needs the ball. VJ Edgecombe's not high enough up the pecking order to demand the ball because he's just a second-year player, but he plays better with the ball in his hands. And, of course, LeBron is going to need it. So they have a ton of talent. The fit is going to be fascinating. The egos are going to be fascinating, because the two biggest narcissists maybe in the entire league are LeBron James, and maybe in the history of the civilization is LeBron James. And then Jaylen Brown's pretty high up that list as well. So how their personalities fit in, how their styles fit in, going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Ultimately, do you think it's going to happen? I mentioned earlier they were 22-1, which I never understood anyway, Justin. I know you don't get into the gambling aspect too much, but I thought that team without LeBron was the best team in the Eastern Conference. You throw out LeBron, you still have those other four. It's like, why would this team be behind Boston and some of the other clubs at 22-1? Now it's down to 10-1. So ultimately, come playoff time, when it really matters, do you think they will be able to put it together if they're healthy?
I still think the concern one is if they're healthy, right? Because Joel Embiid is never healthy. Offensively, if they can set their egos aside, that's going to be a big hurdle. But the other thing is nobody can defend on this team, because LeBron James can't defend, hasn't tried to defend in like 5 or 6 years. Now the postseason, he can turn it on, and I feel like almost every other game, not basically the 16 that you need to win plus all the games that you're going to lose. So I'm not sure if he could do it 20 plus games where he turns it on defensively. Tyrese Maxey is a negative defender. As bad as Jokic is defensively, Joel Embiid's actually worse defensively than him right now because he can't move his feet. Jokic chooses not to move his feet. Embiid can't move his feet, especially if you get him out on the perimeter. You can torch him. And I think Jaylen Brown's a significantly overrated defender who can turn it on at times one-on-one if he's guarding like Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard one-on-one. But off the ball, we're talking about one of the, I guess, less intelligent off-the-ball defenders in the sport right now. Offensively, the fit will be a concern. Defensively, just the capability will be a concern. But they do have the talent, and they are in the weaker of the two conferences.
Yeah. I thought that he was going to Cleveland, Justin. I really did. Knowing that he wasn't going to make a lot of money, I thought that would be the one way he could kind of justify a smaller salary. Just, but I'm going home and finish my career with the Cavs. It's got to be a blow to his ego that he could only come up with $8 million for 2 years. But two, did you think he was going to? How surprised are you that he's with Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm more so surprised that he's anywhere other than Cleveland, because I thought he was going to Cleveland as well to kind of finish out the story, because I assume this documentary he's working on is going to be that phrase he always uses, right? Just a kid from Akron. That'll be the title there as he paints that up. And the other reason I'm confused is you can play with the emotions of the Miami fan or the Golden State fan or some of these other cities that he was teasing a little bit as he was seeking his attention. The idea that he used the Cleveland fans' emotions again, I think is a bad look. Those people were the one city that maybe loved him unconditionally. He was a business transaction in LA. He was a business transaction in Miami. It's a business transaction now in Philadelphia. But to me, shame on him that he played with the emotions of the Cavalier fan again, left him twice. And then this was almost like leaving him a third time, because he left open the possibility that he was going there. He's hanging out in Ohio in the offseason, putting himself all over Instagram, and then to kind of, pull the rug out on them. I thought, I don't know how they'll react in Cleveland. I would assume that there'll be some people that are turned off by it.
Yeah, I wonder if he could do something that would turn those people off. First time Philadelphia plays in Cleveland, you think they'll boo him? Would they go there? I would if I was a Cav fan, because I think, Justin, he knew. I think once he was really, and he didn't choose to leave LA either. They pushed him out. Exactly. And I think he knew, weeks ago where he was going. I really do.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, this was something I kept dealing with people, including my co-host Eddie Johnson, would say well, we've never seen this from a 41-year-old where he can hold things up. And nobody's ever played at this level at LeBron's age. I agree with that. But the only reason he was getting this much attention is because he dragged it on for an additional month. If Luka was a free agent, or Giannis was a free agent, or Jokic was a free agent, or SGA or Jason Tatum, then they should be getting more attention than LeBron James, because they're currently better players. The only reason everybody was talking about LeBron to this level is because he was the only huge name left. He did it clearly for attention. I think he knew probably a while ago, but this guy, I think attention is basically air to him. He needs it to live.
Yeah, he's a media whore. There's no two ways about it. He's just a media whore. So where does that leave Bron? Not that it matters, but where has Bronny ended up? Anywhere?
I think he needs to stop following his father around. It's all right, you got him into the league. I thought that was a little bit weaselly and unbecoming, but you can't be following daddy everywhere. It's time to be, a man, make your own career. If you're good enough to cut it, then you're good enough to cut it. If you're not, and you follow him to Philadelphia, I think that's a horrible look. I mean, what's he, a 20-year-old kid, got a shot because of LeBron. He doesn't need to be following him to every city. And if I'm the Los Angeles Lakers and Philadelphia wants him there to join his father, then I'm making the King's ransom, even though he's not a very good player. I'm saying, well, you want to play with him, then you're going to have to give up something significant in order to get him, like a future first-round pick, which certainly Bronny on his, by himself would not be worth. But if they're desperate to have him play with his father, then hold him hostage.
Yeah. That would really, you said that would look, I mean, listen, we all know he was drafted by the Lakers. We all know he got a guaranteed contract by the Lakers because of dad. If this continues one more step and he follows to Philadelphia, even if the 76ers loved him for some dopey reason, Justin, that would look so bad. It's come on, kid.
Yeah, well, really? they don't love him. Nobody does. Well, I mean, his father does, but as a player, nobody loves him. And his career will probably continue because it's just not like LeBron doesn't just hold power through his play and his presence on a team. He holds power through clutch. So if you want to stay on the good side of clutch, like you'll be doing them favors forever. So people will use these. Well, his father's out of the league, but Bronny's still playing. He's still on a roster. Yeah, because they still hold power through clutch, and that's not Rich Paul's organization. That's LeBron's organization. And if LeBron wants him playing, they will utilize that power to keep him in the league for several years to come.
Yeah, you're a Celtic fan like I am, obviously. Well, what'd you think of what Boston did this offseason?
Well, I mean, they basically led their biggest rival or second biggest rival to the doorstep of a championship by hand delivering them Jaylen Brown and LeBron James, because LeBron's not going there without Jaylen Brown. So the Sixer fan can thank the Celtic fan or thank Brad Stevens. I didn't have an issue with the Celtics moving off of Jaylen Brown because I felt it was time to go. I thought some of the comments that he was making, it's just they were unbecoming towards Tatum. Tatum's clearly the better player of the two. Now, what they got back from him wasn't great. Do I think the Celtics will be serviceable this year? In the regular season, absolutely, just like they were last year. Jason Tatum's a better player than Jaylen Brown. Joe Mazzulla is a really good regular season head coach, but I think you'll run into some of the same problems once you get to the postseason, where the Celtics do it every night by playing hard, by being professional, by being organized. Once you get to the postseason, everybody's playing hard, so the talent gap means a little bit more. So I could see them having another really good regular season, maybe even finishing higher than Philadelphia. But in the postseason, I think Philadelphia is in better shape than them, along with a couple of other teams.
Yeah, I just
Scott looks like he froze.
Seriously, so if you have that serious attitude, you're going to do better, right, than most other teams, because most other teams don't, take them seriously. So, but come playoff time, and I was not afraid to move away from Jaylen Brown too. I wish they would have made the Giannis trade, though. Whatever. I don't know. I heard reports saying that Giannis didn't have a third-year guarantee. The Celtics wouldn't do that. Then there was the Shireman. Supposedly they wouldn't make the trade if they had to include Shireman, which I can't believe either one of those stories. But I wish they would have pulled the trigger on that one instead of bringing over, a guy who's making $65 million a year over the next 2 seasons.
Oh, of course, because they put Miami back into the mix. The Boston organization doesn't like losing to Pat Riley. If you had Giannis on that team, you're talking about 2 of the top 7 players in the sport. And I also thought Giannis would have had a better opportunity of winning in Boston. I don't view this Miami team like the Celtics. I think are still better than Miami. I don't view Miami as a guaranteed lock to be a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference. They have Giannis, great. But they don't really have much else than him. They don't have shooting. They don't have other playmakers. Bam Adebayo is, to me, overrated. So Miami is a borderline top 6 seed as currently constructed. They could still do something else prior to the start of the season. But now that they've missed out on LeBron, they got to be nervous about not even being a top 6 seed.
Yeah, the team was decimated with that trade. I mean, I understand why you made it, but there's nobody else. They're all gone.
And it wasn't a good team.
Just a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Even beforehand, they really were. They're just sitting in mediocrityville. So, Jess, where can the viewers check you out and what time?
So 4 to 7 Eastern time. Not today, though. Serious genius move. They gave me the day off. So 4 to 7 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Yeah, the day LeBron signs, Termini's not working. So 4 to 7 Eastern time, Sirius XM NBA radio with my co-host Eddie Johnson. And then Termini also started up a YouTube page. Termini Crashes Out there on YouTube. It's called Termini Crashes Out over on YouTube. So thanks, Wetzel.
No problem, man. That's we're on. That's we're on. So, just great job. Make sure Howie cleans up that stain, and we'll do it again soon.
Howie Carpin, one of the legends of the business.
Absolutely. Thanks, Just. Appreciate it.
All right,
there you go. Justin Termini, Sirius XM NBA radio again, 4 to 7 over on Sirius XM NBA radio, which is what 80, 89, 91, 90. I think 91 in that late 80s, early 90s run there. So, yeah, used to work over there with Justin. Good guy, real good guy. So, so he kind of is in the same vein. Celtic fan, same thing. We weren't afraid of moving away from Jaylen Brown. We ran its course. They never won. They just, the one time. So I just wish they would have pulled the trigger on the Giannis thing. That would have been, whatever it was, it's got to be some stupid reason. Versus, getting Paul George, who's 37 years old, making almost $70 million a year. That just, boy. And he's right. I didn't really think about it, but it is true. LeBron would not be joining Philadelphia, I don't think, if it was, Paul George on the team and not Jaylen Brown. Now he's joining a Philadelphia team that is loaded and makes him that much richer. So the Celtics really traded, even though he wasn't on the team, LeBron James and Jaylen Brown for Paul George. I mean, think about how stupid that is. This is like one of the prime examples when people say, well, they're not going to trade with a team in their own division or maybe not even in their own league. And I always kind of poo-poo that. It's like, yeah, but you know what? You get the best offer. If this team wants to give you what you want and you like the deal, there's a reason why you're trading somebody. You're trading him because you don't think he's any good. So it's like, what do I care if he's on a team that's in my division? In fact, I want him on my division. I know he's, I know he's not any good. So I don't really worry about that. But in this case, when it's one domino that leads to another domino, did the Celtics think LeBron was going to Philadelphia? Maybe not. But, as a GM, you're supposed to kind of fast forward and say, all right, how good is Philadelphia going to be now? Boy, they got these 4 great guys and they're in our division. They're in our league. We're going to have to go through them. Could they add on? They knew LeBron was going to be a free agent at that time. So they're going to be good. Again, if they stay healthy. But, sometimes when you're expected to be a mediocre team, those injuries tend to hurt just a little bit more and linger a little bit more. My neck is kind of sore, this and that. Yeah. Do I really want to go play on a team that's 30 and 30 right now? No. But if you're on a team that's 50 and 20, you're saying, I want to get out there every single day. We got a sold-out crowd. They're having a lot of fun. They're scoring 130 points. We're winning games. Yeah, the shoulder is sore. The neck is sore. But, man, I want to be part of this. It just kind of leads to being a little bit more healthier when you're that good. Remember last year with Embiid missing, bulk of the season, but they were mediocre. They've been mediocre the last couple of years. So, like I said, that stuff tends to change when you're a pretty good team. They're got to be good. Like I said, I think 10-1 is not bad. It really is not a bad bet right now. I don't see, like, FanDuel, again, you want to put the Knicks ahead of them. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But okay, I understand that. And then Spurs and OKC, it's not necessarily who's in front of them. It's the odds that you're getting. You could have 20 teams in front of you, but if you're all minus, or plus 210, 220, 250, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, what's the difference? Who cares? But they're double digits still. I mean, maybe they don't have any faith in that team at all. Just I don't know why. But it's 10-1 is actually a halfway decent team. That team healthy versus OKC and San Antonio, I think a healthy Embiid would just destroy Wemby. I think the Spurs are getting way too much credit. I think he got exposed. He's got to improve a lot. If Cat can take him down, what could Embiid do? I think he could. I think a good head coach, Nick Nurse, will be able to put that team together. Yeah. I hate to say it because I don't want to see LeBron, and we're going to have to put the black cloud on the Philadelphia 76ers because we do not want LeBron James winning another championship. That is for sure. So, SEC Media Day continued. We'll get into it a little bit more on the other side, but all the coaches talk and everything else. And one was Lane Kiffin, who clearly is the focus of the league right now. It's amazing. Now, he was in the league, obviously, at Ole Miss, but it's amazing how Georgia is great, Alabama is great, Oklahoma, you got Arch Manning at Texas. And I made a list, which we'll go over here in a second, of the best games in the SEC this year. Man, a lot of them pertain to Lane Kiffin and LSU.
Program. You have the branding of LSU. You have the history of LSU. You have the Tiger Stadium, most iconic place to play college football, the Cathedral. And then you put that with us, with our systems, and I don't like talking about myself, whatever you call the Lane Kiffin factor. And you bring that in, as you allude to, and you combine that. I think that all goes into that. Now you have 12 players with Nike NIL deals, the first offensive lineman ever. No other schools above 8. We didn't say like 12, 11. We didn't say just SEC schools. So It's a big reason why we're here. When I said that first press conference, like, it's just different. We're going to make this thing different than anywhere else to go when you combine LSU and us, and you're seeing it. You know, we just on stage had that question in the Vanity Fair and all that, whatever, and as I walked off, and, you know, I didn't really want to say it, but, you know, when you talk about the changes of places, somebody said it the other day. They said, like a month ago or whatever, they were like, well, he's been here 6 months, and he's had more 5-star signees and commits than he did in the previous 6 years combined. You know, that's kind of proof to me of the decision and of the combination of the two, us and LSU.
That's the $64,000 quote there at the end, right? He has more signings in one off season than he had in his 5-6 years at Ole Miss combined, as far as, you know, 5-star recruits. So people, you know, this past off season when he was leaving Ole Miss, like, why are you leaving Ole Miss? You know, you're in the championship and this and that and what have you. You can make the playoffs. You can recruit. Yeah, I don't know how he did, but he did. Give him credit. But that last statement there just puts it all, you know, at LSU, I have so much more money, and just people would rather go to Louisiana than Mississippi, I guess. You know, both schools are beautiful. Not that I've been on either campus, but that says it all right there. That's how strong. But that said, you know, LSU's schedule this year, I don't know, what is their over under? Hold on a second. Let's get a college football. I should have had this written down. College football win totals. I'm going to say it's probably 9.5. And it is 8.5. Okay. I wish it was 9.5 because I would go under 9.5. 8.5. But they got to go 9-3, right? Which you would think, okay, that's no big deal. Listen to their schedule. Clemson as a non-conference game. At Ole Miss, which you know is just going to be crazy. At Auburn, not easy. Alabama, Texas, at Tennessee. That is sick. That doesn't even include the Texas A&Ms and at Arkansas's of the world. That is a brutal schedule. That's why it's 8.5. Not that they're not any good, but are you going to go 9-3? You know, you need to go 3-3 those other games, right? So can they beat Clemson? You know, I haven't done my college football homework yet. I'm basically off the podcast next week. I'm going to start doing that, and the wife's going away the following week. Oh, heaven. So I'll start looking at this stuff a little bit more in depth, but I don't know if they can. You know, Clemson's going to be good. They always are, right? Ole Miss, you know that's going to be like a war. At Auburn is never easy. You know, Alabama certainly, even at home, is not going to be easy. Texas obviously is not going to be easy. At Tennessee is not like, you know, maybe 3-3. The Clemson game is at home. Ole Miss is on the road. Auburn's on the road. Tennessee's on the road. Alabama and Texas are at home. And again, that would assume you're going to do all, you know, win all the other games. I don't think they get there. I really don't. That is a brutal, brutal schedule. So some of the best SEC games, believe it or not, it's the first one on the board. If you told me, Scott, you could go to one game or watch one game, that LSU Ole Miss game, September 19th, Lane Kiffin returns. Oh, they hate him. Oh, they just absolutely hate him for doing what he did. That is going to be college football at its finest. That's probably the game of the year. You know, LSU, Ole Miss. Who would have thought that, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? Ole Miss, LSU. Why? You know, it's not going to be Ohio State, Michigan, or any of the other great, you know, Alabama, Auburn, or any of the great rivalry. No, LSU, Ole Miss. I can only imagine. You know, we got a ticket broker that's part of our podcast, Rafi Tickets, we call them. And Rafa, I don't know if you did Ole Miss this year. He's pretty shrewd, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't have some Ole Miss tickets to resell. But I bet there's no more expensive ticket than that LSU Ole Miss game, believe it or not. That's a good one. Oklahoma, Georgia, you know, pretty good. September 26th. You got the Red River Shootout, Texas, Oklahoma, October 10th. How about Georgia, Alabama, October 10th? How good is October 10th going to be in college football for Ole Miss or for the SEC? Let me just out of curiosity, let me see who else is playing. Let me go to October 10th here real quickly, because that is setting up to be a monster weekend. That's week 6. Let me go to SEC. And we have Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, South Carolina, Florida, LSU, Kentucky, Texas A&M, Missouri was pretty good. And then Texas, Oklahoma, 3 o'clock or 3:30. All right, not as good as I thought. I thought if they had like 1 or 2 monster games, that would have been just like a phenomenal weekend. But still, that's halfway decent, right? Georgia, Alabama is October 10th. Texas, Oklahoma, October 10th. Florida, Georgia, world's largest cocktail party, which they can't call it anymore because of the woke community, October 31st. Alabama, LSU, November 7th. And then Georgia, Ole Miss, November 7th. That should be a great one. The rematch of the 2 good games that they had last year, one in the regular season, one in the postseason. So those are probably the top 8 college football SEC games. There's 8 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 7. Top 7. But that LSU schedule is brutal. Just brutal. Really is. But we'll do a whole slew of college football next week. We'll start diving into it a little bit more and more. So 3 o'clock Eastern time to take a quick little break. We'll come back, do some more WNBA, get some all-star thoughts from our good buddy Nick Hamaty over at ZoneCoverage.com. And, of course, we'll bring up LeBron James. ZoneCoverage.com. Nick Hamaty coming up next right here on the Scott Wetzel Show. FanStream Sports on a Friday afternoon.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. What is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things to showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about, or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there over there at that turflifeclub.com.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Insuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is hour number 2 of our 2-hour show extravaganza right here on the Scott Wetzel Show. FanStreamSports.com, FanStreamSports.com. You know the site. You're obviously watching it right now. We want to follow some of the other shows. You want to see some of those, go to FanStream Sports, and all the shows are listed there. You want to follow us on YouTube with the YouTube channel. Feel free to send some comments in. A couple of guys have. We'll get to those there in a little bit. Thanks to Justin Termini joining us from SiriusXM NBA Radio last hour. Let's talk a little NBA again this hour. Why not with the news with LeBron James signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. Welcome to my buddy you see and read him all the time over at zonecoverage.com, zonecoverage.com, Mr. Nick Hamaty. What's going on, Nick? How are you this Friday afternoon?
I'm torn right now. I actually started to believe the hype that LeBron might join the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. So I was crushed to see that he didn't join one of the teams that everyone thought he was going to go to, and it's not the Timberwolves. Now it feels more real. And it makes me wonder why he would go to a team where somebody is his teammate that talked about his own son last year. Anthony Edwards would never. Should have been a Minnesota Timberwolf. Would have been a lot more fun and would have filled a huge hole at the 4.
Yeah. How about that, by the way? There was on Twitter, I saw that. I didn't hear it. I did see it. The show was starting. I guess there's a clip of Jaylen Brown, watching the game, talking to somebody. I forget who it was. And I guess they were talking about Bronny James supposedly not being an NBA player.
Yep, that's it. So I thought that was the deciding factor to keep, Philly out of it. But apparently LeBron didn't care, and he decided to go somewhere where a max contract's being wasted on a guy that might not even play, 2/3 of the games this year with Joel Embiid. I don't know. I don't know about this move for LeBron. It's kind of weird. I talked about adding another jersey to the collection as why the reason that he won't go to Minnesota. To see him do that, to go to Philadelphia, a team that, they are in the East. They have a better chance of being able to make it to the finals. I will give them that. But, I think Minnesota was a more rounded championship team. The problem is then you have to go up against the Spurs and the Thunder, and I think he wanted to get out of the West no matter what.
You know Minnesota, you're a Minnesota fan. So how much, he only got $8 million. And I can't help but think that if someone would have offered him $20 million a year versus the $4 million he got, Nick, that he would have gone there. Did Minnesota not have any cap space either?
Zero. Absolutely zero. They only had a minimum. Minnesota's in a weird spot right now with they've got 7 or 8 guys that play the 2 or 3 position. We've got Jaden McDaniels, who's probably going to have to slide down to the 4. You've got Josh Green. You've got DeSumo. You've got DiVincenzo coming back. The best player on the team, Anthony Edwards. This is a guard-heavy team. You're going to have guys like Jalen Clark probably slide down and play the 4 a little bit. Terrence Shannon Jr. came on in the playoffs. But everybody I'm saying right now is a 2 or a 3 guard. It's going to be really tough to make one of these wings play the 4 for the Wolves. We're going to have to see a lot of that with Trey Lyles being the only true 4 they have ready to play right now on the roster. It's going to be an interesting season in Minnesota. You got to expect that they're going to package 1 or 2 of these guys for a 4 or for a first-round pick in the future to draft a 4 for next year because it's not going to last. Unless you think that the Champagne Spurs lineup can get it done. They have Wemby to offset that. The Wolves do not have Wemby, but they do have Rudy Gobert, who might be the closest thing defensively in the NBA.
I was told that the Celtics wouldn't, or Minnesota wouldn't make the trade with Jaylen Brown because Minnesota didn't want to include Rudy Gobert. Did you believe? I mean, I don't believe that. Do you?
I do believe that because they're stuck with him after getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns. I don't want to take you down the Wolves rabbit hole because it will make me cry. But if you really looked at what the Wolves have done over the last few years, they gave up, I think, 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert and Walker Kessler. You could have had Walker Kessler. You could have had all of these first-round picks. Keontae George is one of them already. You would have had all those guys. You could have used that trade bait and had Karl Anthony Towns instead of Rudy Gobert. We just saw what Karl Anthony Towns did in the playoffs last year. Towns was a defensive machine against Wemby. That was the whole gripe of Towns is he can't play defense in the playoffs. He's a fouling machine, which I do agree in Minnesota. It was very true. But he showed how bad of a trade that was. I'll be shocked if Minnesota doesn't win a championship if Anthony Edwards in the next few years doesn't request a trade because of that. That was the worst day in modern Wolves history. And we've had a lot of bad days. So getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns was tough, but that was all done because of the Rudy Gobert trade. As soon as Rudy came over, most Wolves fans that I knew were pretty upset with the haul that we gave up for it. And that, Tim Connolly has made some good moves in Minnesota as well. He did get it, Nickeil Alexander in the offload of the D'Angelo Russell trade, but then Nickeil played too well and we couldn't even re-sign him in Minnesota because he demanded too much money, because he deserves it. So it's been a tough run for Tim Connolly, in my opinion. I think he's shielded by his Western Conference Finals appearances, but that's because Anthony Edwards is on that team. Towns was going to get there anyways. It's a tough look for Minnesota, but they're stuck with Rudy Gobert now. You let go of Rudy Gobert and the anchor there. You got Joan Berenger as the only real post they have. You want to see Rocco Zikarsky play the post? I don't. So they're kind of stuck at this point unless they get a big haul with like Gafford and a couple other guys with Gafford or Kyrie, something like that, which will never happen.
All right. Do you think LeBron with Philadelphia is going to? I mean, listen, everyone always predicates it with if they stay healthy, right? And I suppose you can't predict injuries, although in the NBA, especially with Embiid, maybe you can. But ultimately, do you think that's going to work out?
No, I'd be horrified if I was LeBron James right now. I'm not a huge Joel Embiid guy. I know he went on a little bit of a run there in the first round of the playoffs, but Embiid's injury history, and he looks so slow. He's kind of like a dinosaur out there. He doesn't look healthy ever. Even when he is healthy, he's not healthy. I don't have any confidence in that team. I will say this. They do have a lot of exciting young guards, obviously. You look at that team with Edgecombe, Maxey. Obviously, that you take a look at Jaylen Brown there as well. With LeBron James, they have 4 guys that can win, but they need Joel Embiid to be a championship team. And I just don't have the confidence in him to stay healthy. The depth on that team is a little bit lopsided now. I will say them getting LeBron James for $4 million does help, though. It fills a big hole for them, just like it would have for Minnesota for a very small
amount. Where does Bronny James end up?
Philadelphia.
I mean, I was talking to Justin about that.
Yeah.
I mean, could the kid really look himself in the mirror? Like, oh, okay, I could see being drafted, and I could see maybe even getting a guaranteed contract. That's having daddy to my side. But somewhere along the line, you got to cut that cord, right? I mean, maybe not.
Yeah. I'm more interested to see what happens next year if LeBron doesn't come back on that player option. I think they'll keep them together for one more year. Either that, or it's going to be really funny to see what happens with him in Los Angeles. I won't lie. If they keep him on the roster there and he doesn't get any minutes, I can't see that lasting for very long. It's an interesting situation. We've talked about it a lot, in my own circle of how funny it would be if Bronny James ended up following LeBron again. But seriously, as you mentioned, where else can he play? Where else does he provide any value other than being with LeBron? I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I think Bronny was a great high school player, and I think he's a lot better than people think. But he's not he doesn't have the size to be an NBA player. We've seen it time in and time out that when he is on the floor, whether it be nerves or whatever, his athleticism doesn't shine through as much as it does in the G League. I just don't expect him to make much of a name for himself outside of maybe 2 or 3 more years. You look at a lot of guys in the NBA that had big names, and they were out of the league by 27 or 28 years old. I don't see Bronny sticking for too much longer.
So you said something there, and I'm not sure. So did LeBron get a 2-year contract with a 3rd-year option, or is the 2nd year his option? I thought it was 2 years plus an option.
I don't want to misspeak, but I think the second year is the option. I think it's a player option on the second year. I could be wrong, so we'll fact check me at the break there. But I think it's a 2-year, $8 million contract with the second year being a player option for LeBron.
Wow. So in other words, Nick, he can be going through because it does read. It's very like ambiguous. It's very misleading.
Very ambiguous.
Ambiguous. Thank you. He signs a 2-year, $8 million contract with a player option. I always hear that and think, okay, there's another year after that. But you're probably right, the second year, which means he's going to go through this all over again. Yeah. Like after the first year, he can have the greatest year in the world, and he's going to opt out because he wants more money, and maybe Philadelphia will have more cap space then. Or he's going to have a lousy year. He hates Philadelphia. He's going to opt out because he wants to go through this whole process all over again.
Yeah, my goal is to witness the Philadelphia 76ers fans boo LeBron James. That would make my day. It would make me very happy. I don't even hate LeBron. I just think the Philly fans are so funny that it would just add so much comedy to everything that's happening. But, LeBron gave an interesting quote about how he thought he was done. I don't believe that at all. I think it's a very illegitimate quote. He said it like 12 times in the last, 24 hours. It just doesn't feel legit to me. I think LeBron knew he was coming back. It does add an element to the thought of, why wasn't this just a 1-year contract? Was Philadelphia the one that pushed to make it a 2-year with the player option? Because we both know LeBron wasn't going to stay there for 2 years on a team option. What was the point of the second year of this contract? I would love to find out what the contractual obligation was and what the advantage is to doing that. Because LeBron, as you mentioned, I don't think he cares actually about money anymore. I think he's made enough money. I think he's ring chasing at this point. And if the 76ers do fall apart, if somebody gets hurt, if Joel Embiid, continues to go in the direction that he's been going the last few years, I think there's a good chance we see LeBron make another hop. I'm actually shocked to read what I read last night about how much of a fallout there was with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers and how much animosity there was kind of with that exit. Because if you really think about it, LeBron James was probably just best off staying in Los Angeles. I don't think LeBron was going to win a championship there, but they would have been a competitive team. He would have been able to stay with his family. He's going to, if he's going to sign this small of a contract, they could have afforded it anyways. It truly makes you wonder what went down in Los Angeles that made LeBron feel disrespected enough to go to the opposite side of the country in a market that it's not near as glamorous as what everyone was expecting, unless it was going to be Cleveland.
Yeah. I don't think he was, he told them, Nick. I really don't. I think they told him. And you're right. I mean, for $4 million, a year, Philadelphia or LA didn't even want to keep him like that, or unless they
that was the problem with the Lakers, was they were paying LeBron too much money to be able to pay the rest of their team. So be able to he could have paid them back for that, at least, in my opinion. So I don't know. Yeah. Something must have happened. Yeah.
Yeah, there must be some stuff behind the scenes. What about Cleveland? When he goes back to Cleveland for the first time and second time, for that matter, what do you think the Cavalier fan's going to feel now, being left at the altar once again?
I think he's going to get a very, very rude greeting. I think the fact that he had the chance to go back to Cleveland and even 1% make up for the decision would have been great for Cleveland. But I will say this. I think the whole reason he didn't go back to Cleveland is because James Harden plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he does not want to play with James Harden. I do think he probably gave them a heads up. I think Cleveland is the one team he probably told, hey, if you can make this or this happen, I'm happy to come over. I don't think they were willing to sell low on James Harden to bring in LeBron James. That's just me guessing. There's just no way I could see those two suiting up for the same team. And I truly do believe that LeBron would have a problem making that much less money on the same team as James Harden. I think that for whatever reason is not something that was going to happen. I think if James Harden wasn't a Cleveland Cavalier, LeBron would be going home to Cleveland, especially now that we see him going to the 76ers, who, in my opinion, have a very similar roster structure to the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron probably could have added the juice to make the Cavs an Eastern Conference champion.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, Nick. They really – you're right. I'm sure LeBron gave him the heads up. I'm not going to return to L.A., so here's the situation. Don't re-sign James Harden. When he opts out, see you later, James. Don't let the door hit you in the ass, and I'll come back. And it does, if you read between the tea leaves, the sign, they chose, not a young James Harden either, but they seemingly chose James Harden over LeBron James.
Yeah, which is a bad decision for ticket sales, for legacy, for everything involved. James Harden sucks. Like, I'm not a James Harden guy. I think James Harden's He's a great player. Like, he's obviously very skilled, whatever, but he's not a team player. He's not a guy that's going to win a championship with anybody. I'm biased. The 3 times I've seen him in public, he hasn't nodded back to me. James Harden just seems like a guy that no, I'm just kidding. But James Harden seems like a guy that's more about, the nightlife. You've heard all the stories about, him in the clubs and stuff along those lines. It's not a LeBron James guy. LeBron is as much as people don't want to admit it, LeBron is pretty Kobe-esque in terms of being locked in, being focused, and holding his teammates to a higher standard. And I don't think James Harden and LeBron are going to be two guys that we're going to listen to each other's opinions, in my opinion. And I think that's also why, LeBron maybe didn't want to go to Minnesota, is LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards are, young guys. Jaden McDaniels is a young guy. These guys live a very different life. Not as much of family guys as LeBron is. And I think LeBron wanted to go somewhere where he was with people that, for whatever reason, this tells me LeBron and Joel Embiid are a lot better friends than people really let on. I think that has a big thing to do with it as well. I think Joel Embiid and LeBron James, spending all the time that they've spent at the Olympics and stuff along those lines, All-Star games, developed a friendship, and behind the scenes, they know what's happening with, Edgecombe. This guy is a future All-Star. You got Maxey, who is already dominating the league. You got Jaylen Brown, who, why did the Boston Celtics sell on him? You mentioned the Rudy Gobert thing with Minnesota. I would have given up Rudy Gobert myself for Jaylen Brown. The problem with that is then you have 10 guards on the Timberwolves at no post. It was just Tim Connolly just setting that team up backwards. So it all depends on what the team structure is when you look at these situations. But Cleveland and Philadelphia, much like Minnesota, have a spot for LeBron. I think it was interesting with with Cleveland, because they have Mobley. I think they could have really had a tall lineup in there that could have created problems. They didn't really need James Harden. And I think, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you saw this. I think somebody was saying, somebody reported that LeBron actually made a comment, and Rich Paul elaborated on that LeBron wished Darius Garland was still in Cleveland. That tells you all I need to know right there about how LeBron felt about that trade. Because if you bring Darius Garland back, you have Donovan Mitchell, you have LeBron James in that lineup, you have Mobley, you've got Jared Allen. You've got a team that is stacked, especially in a weak Eastern Conference, to go do it in your hometown. I feel like this is a wasted opportunity for LeBron, and I feel like sometimes LeBron's, I don't want to say immaturity, but his stubbornness gets to him. And I think Cleveland hurt themselves again, pulling a Dan Gilbert 2.0 by not being able to bring LeBron back, by not being able to make him fully happy. He's a guy that wants everything done for him, and it appears Cleveland didn't do so.
Yeah. It's going to be kind of weird how he's going to fit in there. He can play forward, obviously, but Maxey's a guard, Edgecombe's a guard, Brown's a guard, one more guard theoretically with LeBron, who needs the basketball. That is going to be kind of weird how they're going to be able to mix that all together. But
who do you not start on the on the Philadelphia 76ers? Who do you not start on that lineup? You have like an all-star that's not going to start unless I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, do you think Joel Embiid eventually just plays half the games and they use him for depth and they kind of interchange him as a 42-year-old there? I don't know.
Maybe. Just keep him healthy. But they lost Drummond, so they don't really have a backup center that I know of. The depth on some of these teams is not very deep. And you don't want to bench Edgecombe, because you want to get him minutes. He's your young stud, right?
Well, that's what I was saying yesterday, is like with a team like Minnesota, if they lose Rudy Gobert, I know we were just making jokes about him.
Right.
What do you do for the rest of the season on defense? You have nobody else to play the post. It was brought up to me multiple times yesterday on another show that if any team loses their star center, they're pretty much screwed. But I really think that some of these teams are top heavy. And unfortunately, a lot of these guard heavy teams have no post depth. The 76ers feel like they're built pretty similarly to the Minnesota Timberwolves, as I keep mentioning.
Right. What's your take of a little WNBA talk with Caitlin Clark? How do you side on that?
Caitlin Clark's always in the news for something. I'll say this: I don't have any takes on the stuff that she does outside of basketball, but I watched my first real Caitlin Clark-esque game in a while last week, where she put up 45 points and 10 assists. It was pretty cool. You kind of got to see the star power that she has. But her and Sophie Cunningham are whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, they're going to push the envelope on certain things, and they're going to expand their fan base in some ways and cut it down in other ways. And I love it for the league. I think parity is is a lot of fun, and having, different types of personalities makes the league a lot more fun. I'm the biggest fan of the WNBA ever. My favorite player in the whole league is going to be Asia Wilson, and obviously, as a Minnesota Lynx fan, that's tough with all the stars that they have. But I think the funniest thing for me, Scott, I know you some of these locker room stories and stuff bring a little bit of humor. Olivia Miles falling to the Minnesota Lynx is a story that's not being talked about enough right now in the WNBA. This, Olivia Miles is legitimately an MVP candidate. She's one of the best players in the whole league already. She's obviously the rookie of the year. But that happening, obviously, because of the Paige Beckers effect in Dallas is crazy for Minnesota. And if I was in the rest of the league right now, I'd be pretty frustrated with the fact that the Lynx got even stronger than they already were. But you got a lot of fun teams right now. You got the Indiana Fever averaging 95 points. Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, when they both play, they can't be stopped. You've got the Minnesota Lynx averaging over 91 points. You've got the Las Vegas Aces averaging over 90 points. And now you got the Dallas Wings, as I just mentioned, with Flood and Beckers absolutely dominating, averaging over 90 points. The scoring has gone up in the WNBA. That's something that I think Vegas is going to have to keep up with here in the near future. I don't know if you've been watching that. I think there was a 30-game stretch of 24-6 to the over last week.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's a pretty crazy run there. I will say this as well. The Valkyries are a crazy story to be as good as they
Mike's
are.
team. I like that. That's the one team that plays defense, and hopefully that translates and you get great odds on them. They get the second best record. So why not Golden State? I know only second year, but we've seen other teams do that in the NHL anyway.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting with seeing how these teams have picked. Some of these teams have been able, like Marina Marbury or Mabry. I say her name wrong every single time. Like has some games where she can't be stopped. To see some of these expansion draft players pick up the way that they have so quickly is absolutely crazy. But that Vegas team, that Golden State team, they're interesting because, like as you mentioned, they played insane defense every single night. They slow the pace to the point that, it's almost like getting into the 70s. I saw a number last week in a WNBA game that was 142 and a half. 142 and a half for a complete game. It did go over because of a nuclear fourth quarter. Yeah, the Mystics, another team that really like to slow the game down and not play offense and play a lot of defense. But I'm with you, Scott. They play the best. It reminds me of like the 80s NBA. They play the most, old school, draw up a play, run the shot clock down, swing the ball, use both sides of the floor and get a good shot every time. They take the highest percentage of threes in the whole WNBA as well. I'm a big fan of the Valkyries.
Cool. Nick, where can people find you? Zonecoverage.com. I know that. Anywhere else? Any kind of podcast or anything else?
Yeah. We have an NFL podcast, Tiny Nick's Giant Picks. We'll be bringing that back here in the next month for NFL season. Trying to roll out as much NBA stuff as we can, but with the NBA season being so fast moving, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah. Nick, great job as always, man. Do appreciate it. Then we'll do it again soon.
Hey, thank you, Scott. I'll talk to you soon, man. See you soon.
You got it, man. There you go. Nick Hamaty from zonecoverage.com and at Tiny Nick's Picks as well. So let's take a break here, one more break, and then we got a few more things to get to before I want to leave you. So a little more college football or college sports anyway, and we'll update our second half MLB baseball plays, and then our daily, we'll leave you with this. You won't want to miss this. We might not be on the air after we play this, but we'll get to it in just a second. Right here on the Scott Wetzel Show.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka. Named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. And what is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things to showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there over there at that turflifeclub.com.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on a Friday afternoon. FanStreamSports.com, YouTube as well, the Scott Wetzel Show. So a couple more things to get to, but do appreciate both our guests today, Justin Termody, Sirius XM NBA Radio, and then Nick Hamaty over at ZoneCoverage.com and at the Real Time and Nick Picks as well on YouTube. So a couple of things here. First up, back to college sports for a second. I did want to play this because, we love to beat up on college sports, and rightfully so. And here's just more fuel to the fire, as the saying goes. So two things. Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian, you get the SEC media day, so all these guys are talking, right? And, every once in a while, just something is said that just makes you realize about how bad things are, or maybe how good things are, right? So Sarkisian is talking about his football team, obviously, for the upcoming season, right? And the structure of the club and this and that. And he says, to make the moves we make, to bring in a Cam Coleman, Hollywood Smothers, a Relique Brown, Mike Masunas, whoever the fudge these guys are, right? Good players, I guess. In order to bring these guys in, we had to let DeAndre Moore go. We had to let Parker Livingston go. We had to let Trey Wisner go. We had to let C.J. Baxter go. We had to let some pretty good players go to create cap space to bring in the new guys. I mean, it is just like mind-boggling. It's a salary cap. It really is. You got a certain amount of money to spend. It's no different than the NFL. It really isn't. These guys are cutting guys because they make too much money, NIL money. I guess it's not guaranteed, the money. I thought it would be, but maybe it's not. And listen, DeAndre Moore and C.J. Baxter, whoever the fudge they are, listen, we're going to have to let you go. You know, Parker Livingstone's a wide receiver that they let go. Pretty good one, right? We're going to have to let you go. I got a scholarship. Sorry, we're going to take your NIL money away. So if you want to play with no NIL money, you're happy to be on the team. But if you want to transfer and go get some NIL money elsewhere, see you later. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. It's crazy. I'm not a fan of it. And you know what? I don't even want to know it. I really don't. I'll accept the fact that it's there. I'll accept the fact it's not going away anytime. It really isn't. So I get it, but keep it behind closed doors. Really, I don't want to know how much these players make. I really don't, because I'm only going to get disgusted when they make a mistake, or I wonder why you're paying that guy $3 million to go to college. I don't. I'm going to be naive about it and just stay naive. I don't want to know. I don't want to how much making this, why this guy's on your team. I just don't want to know, right? And then it's gotten so bad that get a load of this quote from Josh Pastner. He's the head coach basketball at UNLV, and he's talking about that. Talking about recruiting and bringing kids in, right? Hold on a second. Use my finger.
We're trying to become owners of this NBA team coming in 2029. I have told people, why? Buy the college basketball team. It's legal now. You can be the owner of the UNLV Running Rebels men's basketball team, and it's a lot less expensive. You don't have to spend over $1 billion to own our team. I'm asking for 10 to 12 million to own our team, and you still get a great tax write-off, and you can be as involved, and you can tell everyone you're the owner of the team.
I mean, that's just amazing. He's not joking there. He's dead serious. Don't buy an WNBA team. Buy the college basketball team for a year. Rent this for a year. You could say you're the owner. You could say whatever you want to say. Who cares? Just give us $12 million in NIL money, and the team is all yours. I mean, it's bonkers. It really is just bonkers how far this has gone, and it's not stopping. It's not slowing down. It's going to get worse and worse and worse, right? Been meaning to get to this, so we have it here. On our little log here about top wide receivers in the NFL. We always try to throw some NFL story at you as we get closer and closer to the season, right? So. Here's former Dallas Cowboy Hall of Fame wide receiver Michael Irvin talking about his top 5 wide receivers
all the time. I get people all the time talking about this. I always tell people, I think Jerry Rice is the greatest player of all time. I think Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time. But as soon as you finish with that Ian Rice, you better start with the M and Michael. That's what I'm talking about. So Jerry won, you too. I'm gonna go. You talking physically gifted or actually play what they did on the field? Because physically gifted, you start looking at a Megatron. You start looking at an Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson, I look at when I'm in the Hall of Fame. I look around and see Jerry Rice. I see his quarterbacks. I'm in there with my quarterback. I see Sterling Sharp. I see Brett Favre. I look at Andre Johnson, and I'm like, damn, how'd you get in this room? His quarterbacks ain't coming. You see, those are different kind of dudes right there. Andre Johnson got in this room, and his quarterback is known, his nickname is the Pick Six. That dude is, when you're talking about physically gifted dude. Now you talking about results and physical gifts, and you got to put in a Randy Moss, that size, that big. I'm going to tell you a guy I love, one of my top 5 all time is Andre Reed. Andre Reed. Nobody going, put Andre Reed. I'm throwing Andre Reed. He was a big receiver too. Right there. Andre Reed was the bad man, inside, outside, prior to what they got out and what they're doing now. So Jerry Rice, I'm putting me in there. I'm gonna go bad boy. Andre Johnson was such a bad boy, just a bad boy. But I'll go Randy Moss. Andre Reed, and you put T.O. in there. I put T.O. T.O.'s in.
I wouldn't put T.O. in. I never thought he was great. He had all the gifts, but he dropped way too many passes to be in my top 5. Take him on my team, brings the attitude. You got to deal with that nonsense as well. And I was actually a T.O. guy, as far as I didn't mind, guys wanting the football. You got to deal with it, right? But I just didn't think he was great because he just dropped way too many passes. If I can't count on a guy catching the football, he'll never be in my top 5. Simple as that. My top 5 that I've seen play, I would go Jerry Rice. His numbers just dwarf. He's kind of the Wayne Gretzky of NFL wide receivers. You look at how many receptions and how many yards he had. Everyone else is so far behind him. So Rice has got to be number 1. I think Randy Moss is number 2. As far as guys I've seen, man, that dude was terrific. Again, a little bit of an attitude like seemingly all these guys have. But as far as catching the football, out jumping guys, tall, throw them in the red zone, throw them over the middle, I think he was the second best. I'll throw one he didn't mention. How about Larry Fitzgerald? Right, great wide receiver, kind of playing in no man's land in Arizona. The Warner years, they had a couple of good seasons. They did. But, basically playing in obscurity in Arizona, right? But he was phenomenal. Just great. He's in the top 5 wide receivers. I'll throw Jamar Chase in there. I'll throw a guy that's playing right now. I think he's great. Love Joey B. I love Chase. I think that's the best combination in the NFL. And he could put up monster numbers, and they do throw him the football. It's one thing Cincinnati does right. So Jamar Chase. And then I'll put Calvin Johnson in there. He's only 37th all time in receiving yards, believe it or not. But the dude was big. You couldn't cover him. It ran with Barry Sanders on the team a little bit. And they threw the ball a little bit, but he was great. He really was. I don't know how that Lions team didn't find a way to get a win. But Rice, Moss, Fitzgerald, Chase, Calvin Johnson. There you go. Little top 5, little popcorn TV, as we like to call it on the radio side of things, TV side. How about an update here? Some guys throw picks out, not to put anyone else down, but I throw picks out. We try and follow it up. They make a little, this way you're held responsible for the picks you give out, right? So after the All-Star break, we gave out some second half over-unders. So we gave out a bunch of them, about 10 of them here. So let's go over them real quickly, see how well we're doing, right? Told you love the over in the Red Sox one, over 81.5. They're 6-1 since the break. So we're well on our way to getting to 82 wins, like that. Gave out 82.5 Chicago White Sox. They only needed to go 32-34 the rest of the way. They're 4-2 since the break. So we're on a positive side of that. Over 94.5 Milwaukee Brewers. They needed to go 36-30. They're 5-1 after the break. Looking real good there. Gave out over 100.5 LA Dodgers. They needed to go 40-25 the rest of the way. They're 4-2. You keep on going 4-2, 4-2, 4-2. You'll get to 40 wins. So that's looking halfway decent. Some of the ones that aren't. All right. Philadelphia Phillies. They needed to go over 89.5 wins, which means they needed to go 36-29 the rest of the season. They're 2-4. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets at home. You can't do that, Philadelphia. So I'm a little disappointed in them. Gave out over 79.5 Houston Astros. They needed to go 33-31 the rest of the way. They're 3-3, so not horrible, but we need a little bit better than that, Houston. The one killer is we gave out over. We put the black cloud on the Miami Marlins, over 82.5. They needed to go 31-34. So 3 games under 500, right? They're 0-6. They're riding a 9-game losing streak. we need clearly for them. Now, listen, they still only need to go 31-28, which is more than doable. But that's the one where it's kind of like we got to get them out of this little funk there. So as far as our overs are concerned, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8. We have 5 that are going good, and then 3 not so good. And really 2 of them are kind of mediocre. Really just the Miami one is the killer. Gave out 3 unders. Gave out under 63.5 Colorado. they would need to go 25-39 for them to go over that number. They're 2-4 since the break. I'm pretty confident about them. They suck, and then that's not really changing, right? Gave out under 91.5 Atlanta Braves. They would have to go 37-32 to get to 92 wins. They're 3-3. Okay, so we'll take that. 500 baseball is not going to get it done. That's kind of what we figured they would be, about a 500 team second half of the season. And then really our best play was under 71.5 New York Mets. They need to go 31-33. They're 3-3 so far. All right, so for the Mets, that's pretty darn good. I didn't count on them taking 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia. Now they open up a series against the LA Dodgers. I'm hoping they lose at least 2 out of 3, if not get swept, although I don't think they're going to get swept. But okay, that's right on par. So really, outside of the Marlins one, we're doing pretty well. And I told you, I do well with these midseason ones. You know what the teams are like. You know how good they are. You know how bad they are. It's a rare occasion that you get a good team that starts losing or you get a bad team that starts winning. It does happen every once in a while, but we had 10 picks, and I think 7-3. That was the goal realistically. Let's go at least 7-3, and we're on pace for 7-3. Not too bad. As far as our plays this week, not bad. We're 5-2. Gave out 2 winners on Monday. Gave out 2 losers on Tuesday. Gave out 2 winners on Thursday, and we gave out under Detroit, Kansas City last night. For last night's game. So we're 5-2 heading into tonight's play. So tonight, I do this every once in a while, not a lot, but every once in a while we do this. I'm going to play some team totals. Forget about who's winning and losing. Let's just bet how many runs teams will score, right? One of them is Toronto, which is why, I can't bet against the Red Sox. One, they're my favorite team. Not that would stop me, but you can't bet against a team that's 15-1 their last 16 games, right? You'd be an idiot to do that. So, and I would always, no matter who's pitching, where they're playing, who they're playing, you can't do that. But you can play other team totals. And the Sox have Patrick Sandoval on the hill. It's only his 3rd start since Tommy John surgery. He got lit up his last start by Tampa Bay. Toronto is a much, much better team. We told you earlier, against left-handed pitcher like he is versus right-handed, 17-game swing. So Toronto stinks. They did win yesterday, though. So I think the over-under is 4.5. I think they get 5 runs. It's at Fenway Park, small ballpark and everything. Lefty at Fenway who's struggling. I'd be surprised. Maybe Boston wins 7-5, 8-6, 8-7, something like that. But I think Toronto gets their 5 runs. I do. As long as the Red Sox keep Sandoval in there, and I think they will. They need to work him out. They need to stretch out his arm, no matter how bad he's pitching. They did it last time out against Tampa Bay. They kept him in there way too long. And I just think they need to, you got to throw 70, 75 pitches. You just have to. So if you're getting beat up, then we're going to keep you in there. So that's an extra little bonus. So I do like that. Got to play a hunch on an under team total. And that would be the Chicago Cubs. They're taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates, and this guy, June Jones, is pitching for Pittsburgh, right? And I don't know if it's an anomaly or what, but his last 3 outings, he went 5 innings against Cleveland, allowing 1 run on 3 hits. He went 6 innings against Atlanta before that, allowing no runs on no hits. He was throwing a perfect game. Remember, that was the game that the manager took him out of the game. And then before that, he allowed 1 run on 2 hits in 4 innings against Philadelphia. So 3 pretty good teams, and he's allowed 2 runs in his last 3 starts, a combined 15 innings. Cubbies aren't exactly great hitting the baseball. Pittsburgh is at home. The over-under is 3.5. Now, chances are you're going to need the bullpen because he doesn't, he throws a lot of pitches, and they only let him go about 75 pitches for whatever reason. Because he had, surgery last year, so they're babying him, right? That's what they do with Pittsburgh. So you're probably only going to get 5 or 6 innings, and you need the Pirates bullpen to continue to hold down the Cubs. But I'll grab the under 3.5 runs, Chicago Cubs. So over Toronto, 4.5, under Cubbies, 3.5 runs are totals. So 5-2 this week. You always go to the website, always offer up free picks. Go to the oppositepicks.com. They get the different icons. You hit the free picks icon, drop down appears, and you hit the baseball, and there they are. And we're doing real well with those as well. So that's about. Let's check. You know what? We'll check our little YouTube board here. Hanging Iron 86 says Mariners to win the series against Texas minus 105 first 3 games. Yes, that is. I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't know if that's a 4-game series or not, but if it is a 4-game series and you bet the series, it's based on the first 3 games. It doesn't go 4 games. So if they lose the first 2 games, win the next 2, you walk away with a split, right? No, you lose the bet. It's always based on the first 3 games, even if they play a 5-game series. Although, actually, you know what? Maybe, I don't know about that. But 4-game series, it's definitely based on the first 3. So I do appreciate that. Got a good buddy, Michael Grant. That was Dan Campbell talking. I don't think that was Dan Campbell. In the NBA video, no, that wasn't Dan Campbell. Why would it be Dan Campbell? I don't think that was Dan Campbell. Let's check the emails here. See if we got any emails. swoppositepicks@yahoo.com, by the way. I guess I should give that out if I'm going to take emails, right? Johnny, one of our LLs from the podcast, Scott, LeBron signing with the Sixers. I was thinking now he's the latest replacement for the media to go gaga over for the next 2 years. Now the Tiger's out of the news. Yeah, listen, John, they've always gone gaga, right, over LeBron, no matter what he does. So I didn't realize that second year, like we were talking with Nick, is not guaranteed. I thought it was 2 years and then an option for a 3rd year. He's probably right. So we're going to go through this whole process all over it. He's not retiring. He said he wanted to play 2 more years. So, I get, and I understand why he's doing it, theoretically. I think he's doing it because he's a media whore. He wants the attention. But I could see, listen, I don't want to be stuck on a team that I don't get along with. These players are going to be jerks, and I don't like these guys, and blah 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 blah. I want to get the fudge out of here. So I'll give you a year and make it a 2nd year option, and then if I like it, I'll stay, and if I don't, then I'm leaving. Which means what? They're going to have to kiss his ass for the next year. That's what that means. They're going to have to do whatever he wants. Otherwise, he'll just bail on them. So, but I think I think that team will be all right regular season. I do. Anything else on the world of Twitter that we need to throw at you? Everyone talking about LeBron, but let's scroll down here real quickly. Bronny trying to get on a plane to Philadelphia. Nothing really. I don't think so. I got to send out the picture. I referee some basketball, and there's a guy who's a dead ringer for Dave Portnoy. Dead, just dead ringer. So, yeah, that's about it. All right, so I will leave you with this, and we'll play it. Just know it's probably AI, right? It is probably, but it is funny. The N-word is used by 2 white people, which is sacrilege. Oh, my God, the end of the world, right? Yes, every singer, every black person in the world can throw the N-word out there like it's nobody's business. But here's 2. The people are real, but, we'll play it. And
Scott, I have a little bit of backstory on this video if you'd like it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You know it's him?
So I wasn't aware of this video in circulation, but as I was in here prepping for your show beforehand, right. my now 18-year-old son was in here. He's like, and he saw the video on my screen. He's like, "Why are you looking at that?" I was like, "Well, Scott wanted to play it on the show today." I said, "How do you know about this video?" He goes, "Dad, that video's been in circulation since I was little."
Really?
So he has been aware of this video since, 1st grade. Like it was a thing back then, 18 years ago. Well, 15 years ago, whatever. And my math is horrible. But so I was unaware of this thing until you showed it to me. But apparently this is something that's been out there for a long time.
And they just keep on updating. Like it's the same video, but I saw this video. The one we'll show you is just pertaining to Jesus and whatever.
Yeah.
But I saw one where they're saying this is like how Clemson Dabo Swinney recruits players. So right. I think they had the same video, but they just kind of throw new storylines behind it.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. All right, well, we'll do it just the same because we want to throw it at you. We always like to throw some kind of zinger, some goofy story every single show we do at the tail end. So maybe we won't play the whole thing because they do use the N-word, but it is pretty funny. It's the first time I've seen it, so here we go.
Well, I wrote this song for the Christian youth. I want to teach kids the Christian truth. If you want to reach those kids on the street, then you got to do a rap to a hip-hop beat. So I gave my sermon an urban kick. My rhymes are fly, my beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga. Woo! He's a life changer, miracle arranger, born to the virgin mom in a manger. Water to wine, he's a drink exchanger, and he died for your sins. I preach the word, that's my gig, and I rhyme better than Notorious Big. All the other MCs, I wish them well, but if you live in sin, you burn in hell. Now I'ma pass the mic to my lovely wife. She's a fly MC and the light of my life. So to bust a rhyme without further ado, take it away, Mary Sue.
Jesus Christ is my nigga. He's the son of the original G. And he was sent to earth to elucidate the way that we should be. What? Like if another MC says you're a freak, you're a lame butt rapper and your rhymes are weak. I don't get mad and I don't critique. I forgive him and turn the other cheek. I don't blaspheme and I don't brag. I don't cuss and my pants don't sag. I do exude a little Christian swag and I'm proud to be an American.
Jesus Christ is a nigga. Let his light shine through ya. Let his love pop a cap in your butt and say hallelujah. Jesus Christ is a nigga. He's our homie MC, JC, you see. He's an honest, caring, peace-loving nigga like me. If you do drugs and you think you're cool, you need to come to Sunday school. Put those drugs in a garbage can. Stand up tall, you're a Christian man. Word up. I'm freestyling.
Hit me.
I don't know what I just saw. I don't know what we just saw. I really don't. I don't know why they had to throw the N-word in there. Sorry about that. But, there aren't many times I'm speechless. What is that? And that's been around for a long time, I guess, right? According to Tim, right? First I've seen it. It's funny. It's goofy. It's wow. Maybe it's making a comeback. Maybe it came out, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and then for some reason it's making a comeback. We'll play anything. If you got a video that you want to be played, send it to me. Follow me on Twitter, Scott Wetzel, at Opposite Picks, and send it to me. Or send it to FanStream Sports, one of the guys, and we'll definitely play it. Absolutely, get a little fan involvement here for sure. So that's pretty goofy. No two ways about that. So, all right, good job. I do appreciate all the great guests. Justin Turbine, Sirius XM NBA Radio, Nick Hamaty over at thezonecoverage.com. Check out all their work. They're both on Twitter. Just Google their name and post it up there. Not Google it, but put their name up there, and they will, their name will pop up, and give them a follow, give them a listen with all the podcasts that those guys do. We all kind of help each other out, so do appreciate that. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Do appreciate that. Have yourselves a great weekend. Hopefully, we got some winners. I'll be on Sports Grid. If you want to see and listen to some of the other shows here on FanStream Sports, FanStreamSports.com. And all the shows are all listed there. So let's go. What do we got? The over Toronto team runs and under Cub team runs later on tonight. And hopefully we had a couple of winners, and we'll be back doing it on Monday. So enjoy the weekend, folks. Be safe, and we'll talk to you then.